and we were so close. Almost one of the greatest upsets in World Cup history, capping off what's otherwise been just an absolutely insane round of 32 at the World Cup. Welcome back to the World Cup recap, day 23 of the tournament. This day was obviously the conclusion of the round of 32, and the round of 16 obviously just upon us. Absolutely cannot wait for that. But let's talk about the rest of these teams playing out the rest of their games as we can finally fill out the rest of these matchups as we start off with Australia against Egypt. Again, another one of those weird first knockout games between two teams that have otherwise never really been at this stage before, but have a massive opportunity to add a knockout win onto their CV. Australia obviously coming off a great group performance, getting that win against Turkey, which pretty much proved to be enough for them to get to this stage. Obviously, they ended up getting the draw as well against Paraguay. That put them second in their group, getting this matchup that is otherwise pretty favorable for them. And likewise for Egypt, they've also been a team that has massively played above their expectations in this tournament. The group stage is obviously getting that good result against Belgium and that win against New Zealand. That alone, even with the draw against Iran, proved to be enough to get at least second in the group. In fact, if it wasn't for Belgium's trouncing of New Zealand, they would have been the team to top that group that was otherwise wide open. Now, having said that, there was definitely cause for concern for this Egypt team, in particular with their star Mo Salah. He came off in their last group game just 60 minutes in against Iran, and on the bench he was seen grimacing and had a big ice thing around his leg. So from here on out, it looks like Egypt's superstar is not going to be 100%, but he was obviously still good enough to go in today. And even with Salah being about 60-70%, regardless of what it is, he was still one of Egypt's most impactful players, especially setting up that first goal. The set piece was excellent there. It eventually would come back to Hafez, who picked up a brilliant ball to Ashore, who heads it in. Egypt going up 1-0, and again, they get a great start. That's one part that's really benefited them in their games against especially Belgium and Iran, that they've been a team that is known for getting those quick starts, getting a goal early, really putting that pressure on the other side. And that's exactly what they did here once again. Ashore has been a standout for them in this tournament. It's crazy that each of his 2 goals that he scored in the World Cup have been the first goals that he has scored for this national team. Again, when the World Cup arrives, there's no better time to perform for your team, and that's exactly what he's done. Egypt take the early lead, which, like we've seen in the past for Australia, doesn't bode too well with them. Once again, they're a team that's really focused on honing teams in, trying to get them on the counterattack, stop any kind of offense going their way. But unfortunately, like the US game, they just couldn't stop it early on, and now they themselves have to come out and bring that pressure forward. And while they weren't able to get much going in the first half of this one, the second half, they went for it right away. They get a dangerous set piece on their end, and with a little help from Mohamed Haney, they tie the game. Haney with his second own goal of the tournament. You got to feel for him on that one. I've said it before going back to the Belgian game that yes, he is a positive presence for this defense, but again, second time in this tournament he's cost them, and none more big time to cost them now as Australia back level. Although Egypt looked definitely more primed to try and win this thing at the end. Great chances they had at the end of the game, but Patrick Beach once again saving this team, putting the entire continent on his back. That save that he made late in the game, just insane stuff, man. Crazy acrobatics jumping for that. And with that, this one went to extra time, where once it got to that point, you really felt like both teams were going to go for the pens. But two teams like this that are pretty evenly matched, don't really have any game changers. Obviously, Mo Salah, but he's not 100%. Egypt even took off Marmoush, which I thought was a bit of an interesting sub, but definitely not as interesting as what Australia did right at the end. Again, Patrick Beach, he's been a standout for Australia. In my opinion, he's been easily their standout player in this tournament. From that Turkey performance alone, he's forever going to be an Australian legend. However, in this case, Tony Popovic decided to pull a bit of a Netherlands 2014 by subbing off Patrick Beach in favor of Matt Ryan. The same Matt Ryan who 4 years prior got subbed off in Australia's do-or-die World Cup qualifying game in the favor of Andy Redmond, who ended up saving Australia in that penalty shootout. Now, all of a sudden, he's the one that gets to come on in place of a goalkeeper who's been otherwise outstanding in this tournament. Again, just a decision that I could not wrap my head around. I could not believe Australia were doing this. And apparently it came out after that this was an impromptu sub. This wasn't one of those things that was kind of brought up of like, hey, this guy, if he goes to pens, he's going to be our guy. It just kind of happened in the moment. I don't know what Tony Popovic was thinking there, but otherwise, he got it wrong. Because in penalties, not to spoil things too much, Matt Ryan did not save a single shot. In fact, a lot of those shots that he He was diving before the player even took that last step to kick the ball. It was just a poor showing, man. And again, not to down Matt Ryan too much, but again, the fact that this was probably an impromptu substitution, you could just imagine all the pressure sitting on his shoulders now. Not really getting too much time to get himself suited and warmed up. Again, we've seen this obviously in the past work. If you remember back in the 2014 World Cup, the Netherlands did this with Tim Krul. They subbed him on for Jasper Cillessen, and he ended up saving them against Costa Rica. But in this case for Australia, the move was just a disaster, and it also didn't help that their penalties themselves were also not too good. Harry Suter just absolutely blasting it. First pen, not what you want to see. And then obviously Lucas Harrington, the 18-year-old stepping up, and he missed that as well. And once again, similar to the Germany game, you're letting that guy, an 18-year-old defender, take what's otherwise a do-or-die penalty for your team. Like, seriously, someone's got to step up for that. Like, that just can't happen. But otherwise, Egypt, they did their thing on their pens. Mo Salah in particular with the Panenka, just dirty stuff. And then obviously, Hossam Abdelmagwi with the last penalty to send Egypt through to the round of 16, their first ever knockout win. Well done to them for taking care of business at the end. It was also a funny clip of seeing one of the Egypt coaches, I don't know if it was the head coach himself, show his players a video of Mbappe scoring a penalty on Matt Ryan, basically saying, this is what he does, that's how you beat him. And somehow this worked. So again, fair play to Egypt. They obviously move on to the next round. Once again, like I've said in the past, it's been a long time coming for this team to finally have a run like this. We've obviously known the recent-ish success that they've had in Africa. For them to finally have a performance like this on the world stage, being just one of two African teams to move on to the next round, that's pretty impressive. Even if it is against an Australia team that, let's be honest, they threw this one themselves. Again, their execution on those penalties and obviously the decision itself from Popovic, just not good. Definitely some questions to be asked about that, whether regards to his future and how this team's going to look 4 years from now. Because I don't know, man. I feel like, yes, Australia, the sort of style that they have, it is good enough to probably get to this sort of stage. But otherwise, they're probably not the most exciting team to watch. But at the end of the day, they got the results. They got this far in the first place. But it definitely still feels like a big missed opportunity for them to get their first knockout win at a World Cup. And with that, let's talk about Egypt's next opponent at the World Cup, which will be decided in a game between Argentina and Cabo Verde. The ultimate David versus Goliath matchup of the tournament, with Argentina, the reigning champions, the best player of all time, being arguably the best player in this World Cup as well, versus Cabo Verde. I mean, the amount of times I've gone through this story already, it's endless. But once again, a team with less than 1 million people in population, a team ranked 67th in the world, and in the group stages, they went toe-to-toe with Spain, earning a draw, toe-to-toe with Uruguay, earning a draw, and then their last game almost winning at the death against Saudi Arabia. Even with that, it was still enough for them to pass to the knockout stage. And they've just been an absolute treat, man. Regardless of what happens in this game, they're going to go down as the Cinderella surprise story of this World Cup. And if there was anything more they can do today, then just adds to their lore even more. And that's exactly what they did. But before we get to that, I gotta say, this wasn't looking like that way early on. Argentina slowly building themselves up, getting into the game, and again, when you have Lionel Messi on your team, it really only takes one chance to give him the ball and let him do his thing. And of all people to do that, it was Lisandro Martinez. He delivered a brilliant ball right to Lionel Messi, and just mesmerizing. The touch that he does and the finish just makes it look so easy. And him just doing that puts Vizinha or any goalkeeper in a bad spot. His touch is so close to him that it deceives you into thinking, if he touched this a little bit far, you can go for it, but it's Messi. He's not going to mess that up. He does it perfectly. Even at 39 years old, it's the same motion that he's done for like 10 years now. It's never gone away. He's never lost it. And the finish as well, high netting, no chance to get that. Argentina have the lead. Lionel Messi has his 20th World Cup goal in his career and retakes the lead of the Golden Boot. At this point, it almost seems like a lock that he's going to get up to 10 goals in this tournament. A feat that has not been done since Gerd Muller in 1970. And you would think that against a team like Cabo Verde, his goal scoring may not stop from there. But if you think that way, you don't really know much about this Cabo Verde team. The same Cabo Verde team that was able to hold Spain of all teams, to a clean sheet 0-0 draw. But as we saw against Uruguay, they also got some tricks up their sleeve. And in the second half, Derry Duarte showed off one of those tricks, who somehow sneaks this ball right through the legs of Lisandro Martinez and right through the body of Emi Martinez. And just like that, Cabo Verde have drawn level. They punched Argentina in the mouth at that start of that second half, man. They were legitimately outplaying them. Cabo Verde again. Like, it's insane. Like, if they're not one of your favorite teams, again, if you have a team, obviously, in this World Cup, you're obviously cheering for them. But outside of that, if this team isn't your favorite team in this tournament, you don't love football, man. You just don't. Because once again, on the surface, you might think that this team is like similar to Paraguay or a Ghana, where they just sit back. You know, yes, they might get a result out of it, but overall, they're not really the most exciting team. But with this team, they don't play with that fear. They go out, they attack, and they just can pull off the most insane things you've ever seen. And insane in this case was the fact that they somehow managed to push this game to extra time. Just like I boldly predicted yesterday. I honestly was kind of 50-50ing this. I'm thinking, this is me just being kind of a little bit, jokey around. Okay, Cabo Verde, the fan in me is like, yeah, they could do it. But the fact that they actually did it, just incredible, man. Vizinha as well got to that point. After he conceded that goal against Messi in the first half, he was untouchable in that second half, man. He was diving, making saves all over the place. He was absolutely amazing. Today, once again, proved why he is, again, one of the best stories of this World Cup and why he's probably deserving of all that following. But when it got to extra time, Argentina realized that they were into extra time against this team, and they got to get it done right away. And once again, Lisandro Martinez wasted no time. As from the set piece, the ball gets tipped, he touches it down, and again, a high finish over Vizinha. Did not think Martinez had that in his locker, man. Again, a center back pulling that off. Absolutely insane from him there. A goal and an assist for him. Just insane. The kind of performance that even Man United fans can appreciate, as that makes it 2-1 Argentina. From there, you think, okay, maybe the fun is over now. Cabo Verde have done all they can, but Argentina, they're the superior team. They're going to come out on top. But again, this team and their moments of brilliance, it just keeps shining through. And none greater than the one that we saw from Sidney Lopez Cabral. My God. I mean, I don't even know what to say. That shot, I have never gotten more hype for an absolute screamer that isn't one of my teams than that goal right there. That was sensational. No other way to say it. The perfect shot from that angle to just lob it up, curling it perfectly right over Emi Martinez. He had no chance. Right on the side net corner. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was watching. That was absolutely ridiculous. I think, again, everyone just in complete shock. Cabo Verde have done it again. And Cabral just lost himself, man. He was going into the crowd. He's looking for his girl. I mean, it was one of the most chaotic, most wildest, and one of the greatest scenes of the World Cup. Moments like that are what make the World Cup so great, man. You just have to expect the unexpected. Cabo Verde have personified that to an absolute T in this tournament, and especially in this game. All of a sudden, it was 2-2. We were back. We were back on for hopefully maybe a penalty shootout, something to decide these two teams. But Argentina, once again, at the start of the second half of extra time, they were done playing around once again from a set piece. Messi finds the head of Christian Romero. It gets tipped on again by Borges. It goes in the back of the net. What was initially called a Romero goal and a Messi assist, that would have actually put Messi at the top of the World Cup assist charts all time. But I'll have to wait one more game for that. It was ruled as an own goal regardless. Argentina didn't care. Messi didn't care. None of them cared. They were back in front. They had 9 minutes to seal this thing off. And that's exactly what they did. Argentina get off with the skin of their teeth. They get the 3-2 win in extra time, advancing to the next round. And facing a scare like that for them was definitely not on their bingo card. I've seen plenty of Argentina fans say that that was one of, if not the most stressful World Cup games they've ever seen. Mind you, Argentina in 2022 went to extra time against, obviously, France, Netherlands, even Australia in the last World Cup were able to push them to the brink as well. This team has seen fair enough of stressful moments at the World Cup, especially in recent years. For them to say that was one of their most stressful games that they've watched, it is an absolute testament to Cabo Verde. Again, one of the best stories of recent World Cups as far as a team being that small, going that far, pushing all these big teams to their absolute limits. Just amazing, man. Cabo Verde will be forever remembered in this World Cup, man. I really hope that this isn't the last time we see them at a World Cup. I'm pretty confident in saying that they will be back. Again, with Babista at the helm, all the efforts and work that they've done to build up this national program over the last couple of years. They've had some great results, obviously, in recent years as well in AFCON, but this being their stand-up moment, I really hope the future goes out from here, man, because again, such a fun team in this World Cup, both on and off the pitch. The scenes of them, the scenes of their fans, it's just been amazing, man. You gotta love this team. And I've also never seen Argentina, whether it's the team or the fans or whoever, give that much respect to an opponent that they've beaten. Usually when it comes to opponents they beat, Argentina are just like, okay, yeah, we beat them, cool. Or they just straight up hate them. But in this case, every Argentina player was sighing of relief and just giving them the utmost amount of respect and credit because they pushed them to the limit, man. And they did it their way, man. They did it in the best way they possibly could have. Again, by being a team that was tough to score against, with obviously Vizinho in goal, that great backline that they have, and then be able to produce those moments of magic and really causing scares that, again, teams like Spain and Argentina absolutely did not expect heading into this tournament. But again, fair play to Cabo Verde, man. Absolutely incredible. You will be missed at this tournament. But as for Argentina, they obviously advance. They would take on Egypt in the next round. I will say Argentina, though, this game may have exposed a couple of holes with this team, particularly in the back line. Emi Martinez certainly isn't the keeper that he was in 2022, and likewise for some of these defenders as well. Although this team only conceded 1 goal in the group stage, they ended up conceding more against this game than they did in that stage. So we'll see if obviously this team can replenish that, and hopefully for them and their fans that this was more of just like a wake-up call, kind of similar to what Australia did in 2022. Obviously, they weren't able to go the extra mile like Cabo Verde did, but regardless, for Argentina, it's one of those things that we'll either see this team continue to step back in these knockout stages, or this game will just be a bit of a blip and they'll have much bigger and much better performances throughout the tournament. I'm also expecting the latter, but we'll see. Egypt is next, obviously. Another African opponent awaits them. We'll see, man. We'll see what Egypt will be able to pull off. But for Argentina, not the sort of invincible force that we all thought they would be, which, again, is understandable and kind of what was expected. Again, if this team did not have Lionel Messi, I don't really know what they would go from here. Because, again, outside of him, their other attacking options have not been great. Lautaro Martinez, not good performance from him today. And likewise with Julian Alvarez, that's probably been more surprising to me, to be honest. He has also just not had a good World Cup. They got to have someone consistently step up alongside Messi. This game, besides him, they were relying on their defenders. Lisa Martinez got a goal and an assist. Christian Romero, their defenders were responsible for probably 3 of their goals. I mean, sure, that's nice, but again, when you start to play more difficult opponents, things like that just have to change, man. It has to change, has to improve. But otherwise, for Argentina, again, maybe this is a blip, but otherwise, fair play to Cabo Verde. Once again, what a World Cup you guys have had. You will be remembered from this tournament forever. Now into the final game of the day, and the final game of the last 32 between Colombia and Ghana. Colombia obviously fresh off topping their group, not losing a single game, even to the likes of Portugal. In fact, that was a game that they easily could have or should have won. But even without that, they're still heading into this knockout stage with plenty of confidence. They've proven to be the more controlling team in pretty much every single game. Well, Ghana, on the other hand, is a team that very much likes to absorb all of that pressure, try to get those stops, and like we saw in the Panama game, could find some late magic in order to stun the team. But unfortunately for Ghana, their resistance can only hold up for so long. With Luis Suarez, a player that didn't even start this game, his replacement John Cordoba ended up getting injured early in this one. He came on, and 6 minutes later, he sets up John Arias, who scores the first goal of the game for Colombia. And to be honest, from there's really not much else to write home about. Colombia obviously had a couple more chances to get an insurance goal from the likes of Luis Diaz. The offside flag would deny him multiple times. And Ghana, once again, pretty disappointing from their attack. Again, the likes of Iñaki Williams and Jordan Ayew just could not make the difference. And Anton Semenyo, for as talented as he is, was pretty isolated throughout this tournament. Teams were just able to hone in on him every time he had the ball, and he did not make a mistake. And that's one thing I do wonder about this Ghana team, is that if they had another great attacker alongside Semenyo, case in point Mohamed Kudus, if they had a guy like him, things could have been a lot different. But instead, Colombia really able to control things in this one. Did not really have to break a sweat while beating the Ghanaians in this one, as they go through pretty comfortably, even though it is only a 1-0. They go to the round of 16 to take on Switzerland. Now that is an interesting game. Two teams that obviously love to attack. They've got brilliant attacking options with them. Switzerland have obviously possessed more of a clinical case versus the Colombians, who still really lack that big goal-scoring threat. Obviously, it doesn't help when the likes of Cordoba and James Rodriguez go off injured in this one. And Luis Suarez, well, he did get an assist today, still without a goal in this tournament. That's got to change, man. If Colombia want to make a big run in this tournament, which they are absolutely capable of, that's really the only missing piece that they have. Their defense is proving to be better than we thought they would be. Even their midfield has stepped up in a lot of moments. Arias, once again today, stepping up, getting the winning goal. Luis Diaz, obviously, as well, he's shown that he's easily a game-breaking player that's going to be a huge problem for these defenses in this tournament. But they got to get that goal scoring going, man. They've had no problem creating chances. They just need someone to put it in the back of the net. But again, otherwise for Colombia, they held Ghana pretty easily in this one. Still a good tournament for Ghana, though. They made it further than I think a lot of us expected. So shout out to them. Again, obviously a shame that they weren't at full strength in this tournament, but still walking away with pretty impressive results. So I wouldn't necessarily call this a missed opportunity, because I think Colombia are a very, very strong team. Again, if things fall in their path, they could easily be a team that can make a deep, deep run at this World Cup. And that is going to be it for this day of the World Cup. Again, bring on the round of 16. I am so excited for this. Everything obviously getting started today. Canada obviously playing the first game. Really hope they can get it done against Morocco, man. We'll see. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for daily World Cup content. And I'm going to take a little bit of a break from predictions over the next couple of days. It's nothing that I feel super confident about, at least from today. So I'll leave that be for now. I'll just sit back and enjoy my Cabo Verde prediction, because I think that's pretty good. Who else could have seen them going to extra time against Argentina unless you were an absolute madman? Which I might just be. I don't know. We'll see. Let's play football.